Good evening. And thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a wonderful evening. I think something that certainly you will enjoy. And let me welcome you to this very special occasion which makes the college very proud. This is a very special night. It's a wonderful opportunity for the college to pause, to recognize and to salute an outstanding faculty member of the college. With the designation of October as the National Art and Humanities Month by Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant and President Obama, one of Itawamba Community College's faculty has been selected as a recipient of the Humanities Teacher of the Year Award. Itawamba Community College has a long-standing tradition of promoting and celebrating arts and humanities for over 20 years. Tonight, we will honor one of our outstanding faculty members as the 2013 Mississippi Humanities Council Teacher Award recipient, Mr. Ryan Todd. And as we enjoy this special night, I want to, I don't know if y'all know this, but I got one of these funky phones right here, and when you hit it, the light comes on, and it distracts everything. And I don't know if y'all have this or not, but make sure you don't hit that accidentally out there and text anybody or do anything like this. And let's just focus on this event. I certainly would appreciate that, and it would show this ceremony the respect and dignity that it deserves. Mr. Todd, we congratulate you on this honor and look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
The Mississippi Humanities Council each year recognizes the contributions of a humanities faculty member at each of our state's colleges and universities. Nominations are made by the college or university president, and then proceeded with the nomination and the selection. Each award recipient is required to prepare and deliver a public lecture during October, the National Arts and Humanities Month, or November. Recipients are then recognized at the Mississippi Humanities Council annual award ceremony in the spring. All award recipients will be honored by the Mississippi Humanities Council with an awards luncheon on Friday, March the 22nd, 2014, where a $500 cash award will be presented. ICC is appreciative of the continued support of our faculty in teaching excellence. I would now like to welcome, to introduce our award recipient tonight, Dr. Cass Patrick. He is chairman of the Fine Arts Division. Dr. Patrick.
Good evening. It's a nice turnout. Being given the privilege of introducing a colleague. It's nice to get to know folks across campus, either as a student learning faculty members, or as a faculty member learning other faculty members, and occasionally one stands out and you get to say, I know that person. And that's, it's a nice deal. And it's especially nice to get to introduce one of those as my friends. So I get to do that tonight. Mr. Todd is in his 4th year here at ICC, where he's the assistant band director, among other things. And before he came here, he spent 7 years at Pontotoc as assistant and ultimately the head director there. And before that, he spent a year at Madison Central. So the jury is still out on whether or not he can hold a steady job, but he's here for now. In addition to his duties as a band director, he also teaches music appreciation, applied brass, high brass, and he conducts our small brass ensemble. He stays busy year-round. Outside of ICC, Mr. Todd stays very busy and in high demand as a composer and an arranger. He has written for over 30 bands, high school, college, university, in and around our area. That's a major achievement in and of itself, aside from being an outstanding classroom teacher. He's also one of us. Mr. Todd is an alumnus of ICC. He also holds a bachelor's degree in music ed and a master's degree in music from Ole Miss. Now, please, if you would, give all the attention and all the respect to 2013 Humanities Teacher of the Year, Mr. Ryan Todd.
I know you've heard good evening 3 times already, but I'm going to say it again because that's what I'm supposed to do. So good evening. I want to thank you for coming. I realize now that most of you, you had to be here. And that's okay. Maybe you'll get something out of it anyway. But I want to start with thanking Mr. Eaton and Dr. Reed Bunch for this great opportunity. I'm very humbled and very honored to be able to stand here tonight as a result of this award. So thank you, many thanks. Thank you, many thanks. My goal is 2 major things, and I'll allude to more of them later. But the first one is not to completely say something or try to say something 13 times and not get it out. So bear with me if my nerves get the best of me. I can talk about this piece of music, but to this many people staring at me right here, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Maybe you'll get to do it one day and figure it out. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I hope that most of you recognize that melody as the hymn Amazing Grace. It is that simple melody that is the foundation for Southern Majesty. Composed and premiered in 2012, it was a journey that I was very, very thankful for, but it was very unexpected. Having said that, like I said, it was one of those things that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, but I had time to prepare and had a great time doing it. Tonight, like I said, my second goal is to take you through this piece of music and what I was thinking when I thought it and how I went about putting it on paper. I'll start with the inspirations behind the thought processes, and then I'll take you through the musical aspects that came about from those inspirations. First of all, some of you have heard this already. I was asked to think about the area. Having said that, when I was asked to write it, it took a few days, but ultimately the thought process got me around to the South in general. I first started thinking about maybe a particular city, maybe what can I find here, what can I find there. Ultimately, like I said, it led me to just, I think I want to write it about Southerners and Southern people. I wasn't aware of any type of piece at the time that, contemporary piece at least, that treated the Southerners as the main idea and goal. And then secondly, what I needed to do was ask myself, what do I want to say about that particular area? I'll come back to that in just a second. The third thing, what is a piece almost every Southerner knows? Well, for me, this was a little bit of a no-brainer, but before I could say it's going to be Amazing Grace, I had to put some musical thoughts together. That came on later. And then fourthly, what are the ways to work this thing? What are the challenges of taking a familiar piece and twisting and turning it to relay my intentions? Well, as far as that one is concerned, it all came later after I kind of sort of developed a plan and just started getting behind the computer and started writing. Now, back to what I wanted to say, the second thing. Once I started thinking about it for a while, I finally got around to the fact that I wanted to depict 3 major characteristics that I thought most Southerners displayed. Now, notice I said most, okay, before we get too far. Characteristics that most Southerners displayed, which in turn led to a piece in 3 major sections, okay? The first section that I wanted to relay to the audience, to the listeners, was pride, okay? Now, can you think, as an audience, as a person, can you think of anything that Southerners are more proud of than being Southern? Chances are you can't. You go up to somebody, hey, where are you from? I'm from the South. It's a pride thing. So I wanted to find a way to relay that. Secondly, determination. Throughout our lives, I think we can all agree that this is truly one of the defining / distinguishing characteristics as Southerners. If you think about it, our work ethic and our desire to better ourselves is second to none. I wanted to find a way to relay that. And then thirdly, resiliency. Now this kind of goes hand in hand with determination. However, I wanted to use this as more of a product of seeing things through and seeing what is on the other side of seeing things through. Ultimately, one of the biggest goals was to compose this piece with these ideas in mind, but to stir these types of emotions as in you as a listener. Now, let's start. How do I relay pride, the first section of the piece of music? Well, the way I chose to do it was I opened up with a fanfare. Now, everybody in this room, I hope, has heard the Olympic fanfare. When you hear that Olympic fanfare, the first thing you think is national pride. Same idea here. I wanted to come up with some sort of fanfare that I thought represented that Southern pride. Secondly, to develop this big, bold sound, I wanted to use lots of percussion, both melodic and rhythmic. And then thirdly, what I wanted to do was do all of this with a contemporary sound. Okay, I didn't want it to be like something Granger wrote. I didn't want it to be something like Holstrow, something that it was common practice. I wanted this to be a little bit different, and one of the ways I could get that done was to write it in 9/8 time, which is kind of an odd meter. Now, 9/8 time may mean very little to you, okay? But the result of this particular treatment of it may cause you fits if you try to tap your toe. Now, there's a lot of you in here that have played this piece of music, so you might be able to help me here. I want to do a little experiment with you, okay? You're riding down the road, listening to your radio, your favorite tune comes on. You start tapping your toe, tap your toe. I don't hear it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you're bebopping along, everything's going good, you're loving it, everything's working fine. This piece of music doesn't work that easy. It works more like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and so I want you to tap your toe. Ready? 1, 2, tap your toe, go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you know, see, that's a problem. Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, it's a long 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, it just took a couple ones. Good, you handled that pretty well. But I can promise you that when I passed this piece of music out, or at least the first rendition of it that year, there was a huge learning curve, to say the least. Okay? Now, let's talk about this in general. Here's that fanfare. Now, I've reduced it, lots more parts going on, but I've given you the main idea here. Here's your 9/8 fanfare in the top voice. That would be a French horn saxophone, but that's not important that you know that. Your fanfare is up there, and then I gave you a sense of some of the melodic percussion that's in this piano part as well. Okay? So this is the opening 9/8 fanfare that starts Southern Majesty. Obviously, with a lot more instruments, I couldn't fit them all on there for you to see, but it's a much bigger fanfare, for lack of a better word, type of sound. Now, there is a second section to this that does some woodwind, what I will call woodwind noodling. Okay, a lot of fast woodwind notes. That gets right back to another section that resembles this one a lot with some different layers. But this is the basic idea of the opening section to relay pride. Now, you may be saying to yourself, and you may not, but you may be saying to yourself, hey, I thought you said this was about Amazing Grace. Well, it is, just not yet. There's reasons for that. First is, I wanted a fanfare that was original. I didn't want to write a fanfare that had Amazing Grace in it. I wanted this first opening thing that the audience heard to be mine and mine only. Okay? Secondly, I didn't want to overuse the hymn. I didn't want to beat the listener about the head and neck with Amazing Grace from the very beginning all the way to the very end. And even bigger reason is because I have big plans for that hymn later with treating it a number of different ways. There's only so many things that I wanted to do here, so I didn't want to overuse it or use it too soon. All right, second section, determination. How do I relay determination? Well, not exactly determination is the word I probably should have used, but it's the one that I wanted to use based on the situation. It's actually more reflective of the hardships that we as Southerners must be determined to overcome. The middle section of this thing, the whole middle section, is a slow, somber section of music. With the understanding and reasoning of that, it may get you to think of some sort of sad time in your life, and that's exactly the intent, to make you think of the down times of your life. One of the things that I did to help this determination idea was I changed it to 4/4 time. Now in a second I'm going to show you the hymn that I played for you is in 3/4, and I'll explain a little bit more about what that means. It's in 3/4 time, but I changed it to 4/4 time to relay extended hardships. We know, all of us know, that when it comes to rough spots in life, they don't go by real quick, okay? They usually last a while. I wanted to somehow relay that musically. So what I did was I added an extra beat in each measure to make each moment last a little longer than you think it should. All right, and then thirdly, I changed from a major key, which is a happy sound, okay, with the tune that I just played. I changed from a major key to put it in the Dorian mode. Now that's not exactly 1,000,000% accurate, but it is the most accurate thing that I can use in this setting, okay? To give it more of a sad quality. Amazing Grace is based on the notes and intervals that are in front of you, it is a happy sound, okay? But to make it sound sad, I had to go from that normal major key to the more modal setting, and I'll explain that a little more in just a second. Here is what I just played for you a second ago. This is Amazing Grace, the simple melody to Amazing Grace in 3/4, major keys, okay? It's in a major key in 3/4 time, just like you might sing it in church. I'm going to play that for you, just a little bit of it for you again. The first thing that I did to it was I took the same exact melody and I put it in a minor key or the Aeolian mode, whichever, the Aeolian church mode, whichever it helps you to think. The idea was modal, but in this particular case, that melody is in a minor key or the Aeolian mode. Has a more sad quality to it. You can see exactly what I'm trying to say. Lastly, to get to exactly where I wanted, I kept that melody, and if you look, the top notes of each set of notes is that exact same melody in a minor key in the Aeolian mode. But I changed it to 4/4, I think I told you that. And then the harmonies underneath the melody, I changed those to portray the Dorian mode. All right, and I also kind of got that sadness by starting it with a flute, kind of a mysterious flute duet, and then I got into the same idea with the clarinet section. So here's this. It's actually a string sound because to me the strings are kind of nice. But here is this section played in 4/4 time in the Dorian mode. third section, I'm sorry, the second section, I wanted to end it with a sense of hope. Okay? We've listened to our sad trials, and now I want to end it with a sense of hope that gets us to the third section. Okay? So what I did here is still in 4/4, but I brought the full band in to show how perseverance pays off by bringing the hymn back in a major key, but not exactly that clean either. The melody is in a major key, but the harmonies underneath suggest major, but there's some stuff in there that I put in for color when it gets big and bold. So here is a representation of the end of the second section that I like to think of as hope. When the full band is playing that, and there's a lot of infrastructure that's not there, but I wanted to give you the meat of it. When the full band is playing it, it's a really nice, big section to end, to give us hope. Now, as far as the third section goes, resiliency. How am I going to relay resiliency? Again, not exactly that clean, but as far as I'm concerned, resiliency equals overcoming hardships. Okay? How are we going to do that? Well, obviously, I'm going to fill this with Amazing Grace a little bit later. But what are some of the other things that I wanted to do to kind of drive home a feeling of almost celebration? Percussion-driven soaring melodies, and I'll kind of describe that for you in just a second. And then that opening fanfare, the weird fanfare, the 9/8 fanfare, it comes back, but it's not so weird this time. Same exact notes, played the same exact way, but just metered a little bit different, if you will, and then I'll put Amazing Grace underneath. That is to start this section, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. If you look at the top line, that's going to be our trumpets here in just a second. But that top line is Amazing Grace. The second line down in each section is that 9/8 fanfare. Bum bum bee, bum body bee bum. It comes back again, and then you have very traditional harmonies of Amazing Grace that happen underneath. So this is this happens after a kind of percussive build up into this section, but this gives you an idea of how I started the third section. So if we'll listen to this clip. Like you would sing it, except there's lots of interesting things going on underneath. All right, and then the final statement of the tune before we get to the big, just whole note, loud, drummy ending. The final statement, I bring the low brass, let all of them play a nice, stately version of Amazing Grace, while the woodwinds doodle around in a less aggressive way. It's still dee-dee-da-da, dee-dee-da, but it's real, they're all in unison. It's really nice above the ensemble. This is meant to almost depict flying through the clouds in celebration. When I hear it played by the computer and when I heard the group play it, easily I could see, like if you envision some of these movies when they come on, you are the airplane flying through the clouds. I almost envision that when this third section is played. Here's the way it actually looks. You have the bottom two lines of each. That is the Amazing Grace, presented in a big way. And then you have those faster notes above it in the woodwinds. Okay? This is the final section of Southern Majesty. So what all this boils down to, a culmination of 8 minutes of music with all 3 sections and the transitions that go in there as well. This tune was premiered by the ICC Wind Ensemble in 2012. How many of you were in that group? Just to show of hands, quite a few. Yeah, premiered by the ICC Wind Ensemble in 2012 in Natchez. It was performed this past summer by the Mississippi Lions All-State Band. If you're not familiar with that band, it's a high school made up of the best high school players in the state. And this next month, it will be performed by the University of Mississippi Wind Ensemble. That is all I have. I really appreciate you coming. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Eaton and Dr. Reed Bunch. I had a pretty good time putting this together. I hope you got something out of how I put this together. Didn't want to make it lengthy so that you're forced to try to think too much about something that maybe is not your cup of tea, but I hope you got a little bit about what I was going through when I wrote it. So this is the premiere performance of that we're going to show you now. It takes about 8 minutes. The premiere performance of Southern Majesty by our Wind Ensemble in Natchez in 2012.
join me in giving Mr. Todd another round of applause. If you'll join me on stage. All of that was going on in your head. What a beautiful piece of music, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. And we are very fortunate to have Mr. Todd on our faculty at ICC. He's great.
Well, Ryan, you certainly make the college proud. Very impressive, and the only request I have is at my funeral, I want you to just do the trumpet in 3/4, is that right? But I don't want that to happen this week. All right, we have a plaque for you, the ICC Mississippi Humanities Council 2013 Teacher of the Year Award, awarded to Ryan Todd, October 28, 2013.
This concludes our program tonight. We thank you for coming. We will have a reception in Mr. Todd's honor tonight in the Art Gallery. Thank you.